First off, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, this is your brother Dewad from the branch of GMS here in Chicago. Coming right back at you with a little lesson. And as you see on my phone screen here, I got the elder brother Benata Zakbar from South Carolina. And as you see, his YouTube channel is GMS South Carolina '08. And as you see, he done a response to One Body Dallas. Don't be on the corner teaching about Jacob and Esau. And the other part is hashtag Edomites. But here it is, you got this clown from One Body talking about we don't supposed to be out there on the corners, out there on the highways and byways, out there in the streets teaching about Jacob and Esau. When totally it was said to us to go out there on the highways and byways to preach this truth. You know, totally it was said to us that their teachers would not be hidden anymore. They will not be in the corner. You shall see your teachers. You know, and what's the one way you see your teachers? Out there on the highways and byways. Not in no building, not in no church or wherever else you talking about. Out there and I'm going to grab a few scriptures on it. Now, I'm quite sure I only looked at 6 or 7 minutes of this because we had a brother here in GMS Chicago. He put this in our group me, you know, and brothers was doing a response on it. So with that being said, man, you know, I only looked at about 6 or 7 minutes of this. I really looked at the part where this guy was just talking this madness, and I'm quite sure chances are I'm gonna probably get some of the same scriptures that the elder brother Manata Zakba got, you know. Like I said, I only looked at 6 or 7 minutes of it, but I'm going to sit up here and let this play, and I'm going to sit up here and grab a few scriptures. So with that, here we go.
Esau and Jacob is just a part of the history. And it's an example for us not to follow. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. It is not for us to be out there in the street corners teaching Jacob and Esau. Yes, sir. We're supposed to be out there trying to bring people back to life with information and knowledge of the Messiah. But let's go to John 8:32.
St. John, chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
And this information that's coming out, the truth of the doctrines, of the information, you know, a lot of times you'll find out Israel still corner-minded. Right. You know, they come out of the churches, then they come in under the One West. They come in and they study being brainwashed. That's right. This has not been about Christ. I'm here to bring the information so people know the truth through the Messiah. And this here is no game. You're going to find out today that some of y'all out there, some of y'all in here still have that spirit on you. Which spirit do you have, the righteous or the unrighteous? You can't just be half bottle full. You know, that's why I say you can't put that old person into a new bottle, man. It's going to be destroyed. Right. I know y'all want to get into all that stuff. I just want to stay on topic, man, about just coming in as a Pharisee. You know, I was taught by Pharisees. And I know people's going to hate that. But when you go out there, I felt like I had the spirit of Saul, you know. And one thing that happened was the bishop, you know, he had started teaching. Somebody called me one day and they was like, did you hear the class Bishop taught? I said, no, show me what you're talking about. So I went back and checked it out. And then it enlightened me. I was on the wrong path. And I started to really dive into the scriptures even more to see why was I on that path. But when I started learning this, because I had been saying that so-called white folks, any nation can come into our school if they want to learn. But I wasn't all the way there as I am today. So I just started changing, you know, spiritually, man, because, you know, all the hatred, you know, that's why we pull off the street. We come out the streets. We want to reset things and get things back to where it should be. We don't call it camp. We don't go out there no camp mode no more. We go out there and we go walking and talking to the people, man. and trying to bid them to Christ. That's all we do today. So we'll be back out there. Y'all will see us back out there, but it won't be in that form. But I tell you what, if you come out there with that trip, and I still know them precepts, so I light them up out there.
So we can let it go right there. He sit up here and said what he said. He still calls the name that C name when it's Hamashiach, and that means the Messiah. You know. So we sit up here. He's talking about, hey, and then he had the nerve to read John 8:32. The truth shall set you free. And here it is. He ain't even speaking the whole truth. Here it is. He ain't even telling you the right names. Here it is. He lying to you, telling you we don't supposed to go out there on the highways and byways. See, these are these false guys that you don't supposed to listen to. But with that, man, let me grab a few scriptures. And the first one I want to sit up here and grab is I'm gonna get that Proverbs again, but Titus, I believe. Let me go to Titus. Titus 1. What? Damn. Yeah, I think I just knocked it out. Here it is, Titus 1. This is Titus 1 and 10. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. When it says circumcision, those who know they're Israelites, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. And a lot of these guys, man, got that 50C13 charter, that tax exemption, A lot of these motherfucking fake ass Israelite camps got these motherfuckers, And that's one of the things, and they don't sit, and there are certain things that they know they cannot teach, But when you fall underneath one of those tax exemption break, guess what? Man, you're not a man of the Lord. You're not man of the Lord. You following Big Daddy Esau, You doing things for money, for filthy lucre's sake, These guys ain't gonna tell you the whole truth, the whole 100% truth, and he gonna have the nerve to come out with John 8:32, and he ain't even speaking the whole truth himself. Ain't even give you the true names of the Father and His only begotten Son. Talking bullshit. Guys like him are gonna be destroyed. And what it says, they whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not. They mouths about to be stopped, man. The Lord is about to sit up here and put a whooping on these motherfuckers, man. Fuck they ass up. This is actually I wasn't even gonna go here, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Let me go to Jeremiah chapter 23. This is Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, said the Lord. Therefore thus said the Lord thy power of Israel against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, said the Lord. And that's the whole point, man. He's going to visit upon these motherfuckers the evil of their doing. These motherfuckers ain't telling the truth. These motherfuckers ain't sitting up here bringing in the flock, Whether it be these fake ass motherfucking pastors or whether it be these motherfucking false ass Israelite camps. They ain't sitting up here teaching the truth. They ain't sitting up here feeding the flock. They fucking over everybody. And they're going to have to pay for it. Point blank period. Now I'm finna go to the highways and byways, but there's one other scripture I just want to grab real quick. And then this is Matthew chapter 12 and verse 36. It says, But I say unto you that every idle word that man shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So for every word that you sitting up here saying, all that bullshit that you talking, all the false shit that you spewing, you're gonna pay for it. Point blank period. You're gonna be judged for that shit. Not unless you repent. You're gonna be judged. So everything that dude is saying, sitting up here, we ain't gotta go out there on the highways and byways and all the other nonsense that he talking and not calling on the right names. He's gonna pay for it, man. Not only is he gonna pay for it for himself, but he's gonna pay for it because of what he taught other people. So with that being said, let me go to Matthew 22. And this is a parable, and these are the things that people don't tend to understand. This is a parable. This is a parable. I'm just gonna go through the point, but this is one of Yahweh parables. He always spoke in parables because hey, it was only meant for certain people to get it. The apostles the disciples at that particular time, you know, it was only meant for certain people to get it. And at that particular time, just like you got people now, they when you sit up here and say certain things to them, they don't understand it, you know, because they'll take things like this literally when it's figuratively, but there's a meaning behind it, you know. But here's this Matthew 22:8. Then said he to his servant, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find bid to the marriage. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. But what did he say? He said, go out to the highways. And he said, what did those servants do? They went out to the highways. And that's what and that's what we do, you know. Even though it's a parable, what is it saying to us? We understand that, hey, our job is to go out there on the highways and byways, go out to the main gates so people can hear us and hear this word. You can't do it when you're inside a building. Who's going to hear you? And there are some churches, man, you got people that'll walk in there. If you look a certain way, if they think you even a bum, they might not even allow you in. Hey, this person is coming to hear the word of the Lord, and you still want to allow them in. You know, when you go to churches, who is in there? Main people that always been. So it's the same people that come there every day in and day out. You might get a few other people. Who's going to hear what you're talking about? It's bullshit. That's what it is. This is Proverbs chapter 1 in verse 20. Proverbs 1:20. Wisdom cried without. She uttered her voice in the streets. She cried in the chief place of concourse, in the opening of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying. What? So here it is. It says, she cried in the chief places of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttered her words. So when you go into the chief places of concourse, you talk about places where a lot of traffic. When you talk about the openings of the gates, you sit up here and think about it, and when you think about it in the past, when people were sitting up here coming to cities, where were they coming? There was a main gate that they all walked through, a main part of the city that they all came through to come into the city. That's where we are, and that's where we sit up here. It's the same way now, just like it was back then. When you go to the downtown areas, when you go to certain areas like malls, when you go to busy places, streets and all that type of stuff, where you get a lot of traffic, everyone hears you. That's where we're supposed to be at, so everyone can hear this word, because we're gathering the elect, and the elect has been scattered through everybody. So you're going to have people who look like the other nations that's going to hear this truth, and it's going to resonate with them. That's the whole point. So when a guy like this one body dude says what he's saying, it's bullshit. We were told it's a commandment for us to go out there on the highways and byways and preach the truth. And it's too bad that a lot of people don't understand that. They sit up here and look at us as being fools and stupid and joking and playing around. When our whole point is, hey, we are those prophets from the past, from old. And people are going to find that out. And some of them going to find out the hard way. You know, our job was the same. Just like we was prophets back then, preaching this word, the same way now. The spirit of the prophet is subject to the prophet. This is our job. This is our duty. You know, and we go to where we told to go. And Yahweh Shai told us to go out there on the highways and byways and the main concourses in the opening of the gates and speak this truth. You know, let's go to Isaiah chapter 30, because there was one part I want to get in there. This is Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 20. And though the Lord give you bread of adversity and water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thy eyes shall see thy teachers. So even though we're going through hell, even though we're going through a lot of pain and suffering, you know, we out here in front of everybody, letting them know and telling them, hey, what's about to happen, that they're going to go into slavery, that 2/3 of our people are going to sit up here and get their ass dealt with because they don't want to come back to the Lord. And the third of our people, if you repent and return, the elect is going to sit up here and do that, and they're going to get that salvation. This is what we do. Point blank, period. You know, and I don't know what this guy's talking about is bullshit, is nonsense, and he's going to pay for it. Like I said, every idle word, he's going to pay for it. You know, and that goes for everybody else that follow his ass and everybody else that's sitting up here bullshitting when it comes to this truth. You know, people playing around think everything is a goddamn game when you looking at the world being set on fire and you want to play around in it. Stupid. But with that, man, hey, look, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to those elders and apostles out there from Great Millstone who teach and rule well. A lot of respect to you brothers out there on the highways and byways preaching this truth around the four corners of the earth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that you guys may be sealed soon. And with that, I always say stay prayed up, brothers. Pray for each other because we're almost up out of here. So with that, I'd like to say Kwam Yasharella and a Baba Ball and Anya Habatham Malakim. Shalom.